Yo, what's up guys, it's phillybo, and today I'm going to be doing another QQWP, and what that stands for is Quick Questions with phillybo, and I'm going to try to make this as short as possible so you guys don't have to hear me ramble. This isn't a question from anyone in particular. This question is basically just how was my life growing up and from when I was born up until now. So I'm going to jump right into this. I was born September 8th of 1985, and I grew up in a middle class family, your average American family. I have three older siblings. I'm the youngest of four, and we're all 2 years apart. I'm 28. You can figure it out from there, 30, 32, 34. But yeah, I have three sisters. My Some of you may know that both of my parents are deceased now. But like I said, I grew up in just an average, normal American family. I didn't grow up in any abusive family. You may kind of figured out for yourself that having three older sisters that they had boyfriends and I was influenced by them. But I'll start from the beginning. Like I said, I was kind of like the miracle child of the four kids because my mom and dad were wanting a boy really bad, and they finally got one, and that's where they stopped having kids. But I was born on the same day as my mom's father. And those are I started living with her parents at the age of 15 after my mom had died. But basically, my dad had died whenever I was 10 years old. This December 30th it's going to be 18 years since that happened. He died of a rare disease called scleroderma, and it was December 30th, 1995. He was coming down the stairs, and he had just collapsed on the last step. No one really knows exactly why it happened, but he pretty much went into like a cardiac arrest and he died later that day. Obviously, my mom was torn up about it, and we were all just, in shock and didn't want to believe it. But in between that, a lot of people wonder why. I've never really gotten any kind of flack for it, but if people wonder why, like, I don't smoke weed or drink it really at all. It's just because I grew up around it. I was always around it. I just never really had an interest in doing it. I just never really got into it. I don't care if other people do it. It's just that I just choose not to do it. But anyway, my mom had remarried 2 years later, and she had married this guy that was crippled from the waist down because he fell from a seven-story building and landed on his feet. And he wasn't expected to live, but he pulled through it. And yeah, so she married him, and she got addicted to crack cocaine. He had gotten her addicted to that. And basically, she died whenever I was 15 from a drug overdose. And yeah, it was, I was going through a really tough time then, my dad passing away, not that long ago. And I was constantly, you know, I was being monitored by, I wouldn't say orphanage, but just, like my school was always monitoring me because they knew the situation I was in. Child services were always in the picture just because my mom was pretty much incompetent. Um, she wasn't a bad person. She had a very addictive personality. And my mom just had a lot of mental issues growing up. And even in her later years of her life, she was an alcoholic at one point in her life. She was anorexic. She had split personalities. She just had a lot of mental issues, and it was hard. It was a hard battle for her, and she eventually had died at the age of 44. And that's where I got my inspiration to do my 44 clothing company. A lot of you have been asking questions about that. That it'll be a lot more attention will be put into that, but I've been focusing on the band, obviously. Um, but anyway, yeah, she died at that age, the age of 44, of a drug overdose, and I'm kind of living proof that no matter what happens to you in life, you just have to press forward. Time doesn't really heal it. Nothing really heals it. It's just that you just have to be strong enough to go through it and just, you know, pull through all the hardships in your life. Because life is always going to throw curveballs at you all the time. So I'm not better than anyone else. It's just that you have to find it in your mind and in your heart to really just press through all those bad times in your life. And a lot of you guys might look at me as like some brutal guy, some, just a guy that doesn't give a shit about anything. And that's not true. There's a lot of anger inside of me, of course, but you have to find a balance. You can't just let things that happen to you in your life just take over and just turn you into just a big piece of shit. But anyway, before she had actually died was whenever I started getting into like harder music. I'd listened to Cannibal Corpse for the first time. I was trying to buy their cassette tapes, and my mom wouldn't let me because she thought it was too violent. Eventually I found a way to listen to it anyway. A couple of my cousins in my family actually listened to like Pantera. Some of them had Slayer CDs and records, and one of them had some Cannibal Corpse records, and that's how I listened to it, and that's how I got into it. And then I saw Cannibal Corpse on Ace Ventura for the first time, and I was like, oh my god, this is scary, but I love it. And then I kind of got into more like punk rock music and started skateboarding at around 13 or 14 years old. And, then my mom had passed away at 15. And then after that, whenever I moved over to my mom's parents' house, my grandparents, I lived with them from 15 until, eventually moving out and moving on with my life. I was more like punk rock in middle school, punk rock and skateboarding and stuff. And then once I got into high school and kind of started finding myself and, becoming an individual, that's where a lot of people start finding their individuality, is in high school, and figuring out what they really want to do or who they really are. I started playing guitar, and I was about 15 or 16 when I started playing. And I started playing with Brandon Cagle, a former guitar player of Whitechapel in the very beginning, but he had a motorcycle accident and paralyzed his right arm. And we still love that guy to death. We're still friends with him, but it was just an unfortunate thing that happened to him. But yeah, I started jamming with him in the basement, just with friends, and we never actually played any shows. We just had band practice, just trying to have some fun with it. And we wanted to get shows, we just never did. And then eventually I stopped jamming with him and started playing with Ben Savage, current guitar player of Whitechapel. And we were in this kind of like new metal kind of sounding band, I guess you could call it. It was kind of like that mixed with like Killswitch Engage. It was a lot of fun. It was like some of the funnest years of my life. Just because mainly it was just, we were just like living that dream, but not really living it at the same time. We were just having a lot of fun with it. Our drummer, Nija, he played in that band. Him and Louie played in the band A Different Breed of Killer that we actually toured with, Whitechapel toured with back in, I think, 2000. I think it was 2009 or 2008. It might have been 2007. It was in that range. But yeah, we were all, that's whenever I started playing my first shows. I was playing guitar in the band. And then, eventually that band came to an end. And then me and Ben Savage moved on and started Whitechapel. And we got in contact with Alex, and he knew Gabe. And our first drummer was this guy named Derek Martin. They were all part of the scene, the Knoxville scene. We all just kind of came together. It was just a bunch of local bands that had just gotten together and made Whitechapel happen. And then, that's pretty much where it all started. And, that's how my life came to be where it is today. I didn't let any of the stuff that happened in my early years drag me down. I didn't let, the death of my parents get to me, even though it did. Of course it did, it's not something that I just brushed off my shoulder. But, I fought through it. I tried to stay positive, and, I'm where I'm at today. I'm 28 years old, living the life that I've strived to get. Sorry, my dog's barking right now. But it's the life that I strive to get all through my teenage years. Hard work paid off, and I'm at where I'm at today. So no matter what kind of curveball life throws at you guys, don't ever just give up and just be like, all right, well, it's over now. I'm just done. I'm going to quit. There's nothing else to do. Just push through. Everyone's going to die eventually, and losing loved ones is not easy, but you have to realize that you don't want other people's lives to affect yours, because you're given a life to live, whatever beliefs that you have, your life is what you make of it. And losing loved ones is horrible, but you have to push through it and just make the best of it. So that's been another QQWP for you guys. This is episode 2. Thank you guys for watching. All right. Remember, just stick to your dreams, follow your dreams, do whatever you have to do to make it happen. And I'll see you guys in the next video. All right. Peace out.